It's time for winter forecast predictions, the early style. Hello everybody, I'm meteorologist Brian Ivy. We're going to take a look at a couple of the early ones that are out. Farmers Almanac, Old Farmers Almanac, and then give you a little bit of a preview of our neo-weather winter forecast early on. So frosty and flip-flopping, and that's our winter forecast right there from the Farmers Almanac. They are definitely liking the imagery there for a lot of cold and snow and icy flaky weather. Oh yeah, across portions of Michigan and Ohio, down into portions of West Virginia. There you go. But it gets boring across the West. You got typical winter precipitation and average winter temperatures and whatnot. Come on, gotta mix it up. Gotta make it more fun. Here we go. Numb's the word. They're just shoveling along across portions of the Dakotas and into Idaho and Montana and Colorado. And you're chilled to the bone. Brr. Talking about that icy clavicle. Or maybe another bone. Whatever bone you want to choose. Across portions of the deep south. And it's going to be a mix of maybe some rain and snow and sleet and everything else across the southeast. So that's farmers. How about old farmers? You're mild and snowy across portions of the northern plains into the Rockies, but you're cold and wet into the UP of Michigan. Cold here, but wet. Mild here, but snowy. Cold and wet, but cold and dry. But then there's the snow in the middle. Okay, sure. Whatever you want to do. Cold and snowy across portions of the Ohio Valley into the Tennessee Valley. Then really cold, but yet wet across the deep south. Okay. All right. Interesting. Very interesting. So what about these almanacs? How do they come up with these forecasts? Are they accurate? Well, about 50% accurate. Typically, the meteorological atmospheric science type forecasts are more around 70% accurate, but they can certainly vary too. This is long-range forecasting. We're not trying to claim that everybody is an expert in nailing forecasts months out. Sunspots and moon phases. Okay, cool. That's part of what they use. Also, prevailing climate cycles. Great, that's important too. But weather folklore is also likely used, and I'm sorry, honey badgers and woolly bears and squirrels and nuts. Nah, don't think so. Proprietary formulas. Well, we don't know what that means. Could that be anything that's vetted in peer-reviewed science? No, probably not. So, not always the best. This is the IRI model for this coming winter. And I like this because it's a blend of multiple different models. It does a fairly good job. But it keeps things cold. This would be one of the coldest winters we've seen in years across the middle of the country, back into the Great Lakes. But the heat across Texas into Mexico and far south, some of this does make sense. It is possible. I don't know about this level of widespread cold, but we'll take a look at that here in just a moment. What about the overall trends? Well, let's start off with where we're at now with ocean temperatures, and that influences how we have jet streams because of where troughs and ridges set up due to different pressure patterns. Very warm across the northern portion of the Pacific here. Then right across the coast, it's chilly. This is below average temperatures along the waters there, equatorial eastern Pacific. That is indicative of a near La Nina. We are expecting the second year La Nina to take place. And then very warm temperatures across portions of the Atlantic Ocean. Very warm compared to average. So that is very interesting as well and will likely play a pretty big role. So the active pattern overall should dip around portions of the Northeast and the Midwest into Indianapolis and Chicago and then back into Portland and Seattle. We're expecting a decent amount of dry weather continuing across the south, and not good news across the southwest with drought conditions maintaining likely. So this is kind of that jet stream track, cold air coming on in from the north. And yeah, it could be very cold across portions of Michigan back in towards the Dakotas. And overall, just fairly chilly across the north. We are going to see swings. There's going to be periods of sustained, slightly below average weather, and then some big cold, and then some warm-ups. That's kind of what we're thinking here pretty early, but the warmth and the dry weather staying across the south. The worst of the cold looking likely across portions of the Dakotas back into Minnesota and Iowa, with the active storm track here just south of the very cold area. It could be picking up a lot of snow in Missouri and Kansas and portions of Illinois as well. As it looks right now, of course, we're months out from winter. We're going to update these forecasts for you, give you some more information going into the winter time as well. So stay tuned to NeoWeather and Snowplow News. Thank you very much for watching.